the Finance Committee with a roll call.
Garth, you're here?
Ayala here.
King here.
Here.
Thank you. You want to open CBC?
I'm opening the Capital Budget Committee meeting with a roll call vote. Pape here.
King here.
Ayala here.
Garth, you're here?
Here.
Okay, we got a quorum. Thank you. First agenda topic tonight is to review and vote FinCom CVC recommendation. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. We will approve the prior meeting minutes before we get to that. The prior meeting minutes were dated 5/21/2024. You should have received those from Val.
I received edits and I made them on the master, and thank you.
Motion to approve as edited.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. That is out of the way. Now on to the first agenda item, which is review and vote FinCom CVC recommendation for our June 24th, 2024 special town meeting warrant article. Everybody should have a copy of that in front of you. I am going to read it into the record. What we're voting on is Article 1, which is the Wachusett RSD budget, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds $13,693,038 or any other sum for the payment of town's required local contribution, transportation, debt, and tuition of $10,715,733 and the above minimum contribution of $2,977,305 for the Wachusett Regional School District, WRSD, for the ensuing fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30, 2025, or take any action in relation thereto. This is what the Finance Committee is voting to approve tonight. I will open the floor for any comments before we do that.
So-
Yeah, go ahead.
This is the in full request from the school.
This
For the
was
schools.
This was the original Article 3, I believe, in the earlier warrant.
And this is going to approve everything that they originally asked for.
Correct. 4 out of 5 regional towns approved the budget, the WRSD budget as submitted. So we are the 5th town now voting on this at special town meeting. So this is reverting to the original unamended, original warrant Article 3 that was in the May 6th annual town meeting warrant.
Okay.
Exactly. No changes. Any other discussion?
I mean, I was just going to mention it's imperative that we move this forward. It's detrimental impact on the town as far as services are concerned. There's a larger picture that we need to think about than just the school. I just want to make sure the committee understands the overall impact.
Agree. Lynn, any comments?
No,
You're good?
I can't hear you guys very well. But I assume we're voting on whether we're going to recommend this article as you read it, right?
That is correct, Lynn.
Okay.
Mr. Handy?
I have a question. Currently, the town has voted a specific sum for the Wachusett Regional School District, which was less than they had requested.
No, we
No.
voted 0. At the annual town meeting, we voted down the request as amended, and we voted $0.
It failed by two votes, George, to pass. So the amended article was approved at town meeting, and then that amended article went up for a town meeting vote at ATM, and it failed to pass by 2 votes. That means we had no school budget
Gotcha.
at all. So this is reinserting the school budget back into the warrant effectively. Lynn, we are getting ready to vote, if you're ready to vote. Now, because this is an important vote, I'm calling for it to be a roll call vote,
Okay.
and I would like Val to note that.
Make a motion, the words of the motion.
May I have a motion?
I make a motion to move that the town raise and appropriate the sum of $13,693,38 for the town's contribution to the Wachusett Regional School District.
Second.
With that, we're ready to open the vote. So I'll start from your end, Mark.
Gothier, aye.
Ayala, aye?
King, aye.
Shepherd, aye.
Thank you. So voted. Any further comments as we move on to the next agenda topic? Okay. Second agenda topic was to appoint and vote to the DPW Building Committee. We do not have one at this point in time. Mr. Austin was our DPW Building Committee member, so we have a vacancy on that. I have talked to Ryan about this, informed him that we had that vacancy. He understands. I informed him we were having this meeting and we would take up nominations and votes for that replacement at this meeting tonight. So with that said, I will open it up to comments.
There should be someone on capital.
It's a FinCom requirement. That doesn't preclude somebody from being on capital and FinCom from being that member. But it's specifically a FinCom call out on that. If there are no comments, can I open it up for nominations then? Lynn, can you hear me? Lynn?
She is, yeah.
I'm
Lynn?
sorry, I'm talking to me. Not only can I not hear you guys very well, but my internet is unstable.
The old internet
You might need to go
unstable.
on to speakerphone. Liz, could I call you?
Sure.
We'll delay a minute or two until we get Lynn on speakerphone.
All set.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Yeah, not only is the,
Sorry about that.
sorry about that, yeah,
You've got to mute Zoom.
Gotcha.
oh, gotcha.
Better?
Better.
Okay.
Now you're loud and clear. Can you hear us loud and clear, Lynn?
Yeah, I can.
You can,
Much better.
great,
Yeah.
much better technology. So to repeat, the second agenda topic tonight was appointment and vote to the DPW Building Committee. I had mentioned that Mr. Austin was our designate on that. He was our earlier representative. That is now vacant. That position is now vacant, and we need to fill that so that Ryan can continue to make forward progress on this. I don't know what Ryan's meeting schedule is, but I would imagine that he's going to have ongoing meetings, so we need to fill this.
I agree.
All right, so I had opened it up for any discussion.
Well, I would like to nominate Mark Gothia because he's one of the few people that hasn't said they have time commitment problems. And I think that, at a later time, as we get other members that we feel that all of us feel would be a better representative, we could make changes at that time. But I know I talked to Mark and he said he'd be willing to fill that position at this point in time. Any comments, Mark?
Make sure you speak loudly now, Mark.
Right. I'm on that subcommittee on fire,
Yes.
and I don't know how many meetings that's going to involve. I mean, I could take it. I don't have any particular expertise in construction. I have no expertise. And is it essential that we do this tonight?
I think it is because we may adjourn for the summer here, depending on further discussion here. And I don't want to stall Ryan from making forward progress if he decides to make forward progress.
Yeah, in other words, I would just serve as a body from FinTron to be there to fill it. I can do that, but I would understand completely if I'm replaced, if we get new board members who would be more appropriate for this. I do have time, and I'd be willing to do it. Not supposing that I have any expertise to bring to the table. I don't know if if the other members have it either.
Yeah, are there other members that are interested in doing that at this point?
Interest is a strong word, Lynn.
I know. Yeah, I agree. I also would be willing as a placeholder, but I think that I'm probably not the best qualified for that particular slot. But hopefully that as we add new board members, we'll have somebody who's got a little more construction building experience. I think Mark would certainly be as good or better than I am at this point.
You do a lot of work too,
You
Lynn.
should keep it.
She's got a full plate.
The only comment I have is I was looking at the liaison list, who has the department, and that would bring Mark to 7, where others have 6 and 5. So, just want to make sure you're aware of that.
Well, we
You
need,
have more than the rest of the committee.
we should.
This is
review-
different than
yeah.
a liaison.
Right.
This is a special committee
Yeah.
assignment on it.
Yeah,
No, I
and
understand.
that
I just
liaison
wanna make
list
sure.
will review beginning in September.
Just wanna make
And
sure.
that would be an opportunity for him to offload some of those things onto other members.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I personally am more than willing to be other than a placeholder, but I would, if I served in that role, as has been mentioned here, if we have somebody that's more desirous of it, I would relinquish that role. So we have either Joe, I guess, or Mark as potentials.
Well, should we ask the DPW if they have a preference at this point in time?
Well, that's going to delay a nomination.
Right.
Sure.
Well, let me ask, with Mark's comments, how do you feel? taking it on? You said you were willing, but it's,
I have no problem taking
you
it
have no
on.
problem.
Yeah.
Going forward this year, you spend an awful lot of time in your current role. And going forward, I don't know what the officer situation is going to be here. Do you feel like you have knowledge in terms of construction and?
Sure.
You do? Okay.
I mean, I can do the role, there's no doubt about that. I'm willing to take it on. I don't want somebody to feel saddled with this, I guess, if you feel saddled with this.
No, I wouldn't feel saddled with it.
Okay.
I mean, like with the fire, you just, you go and you listen to what they say and report back to the committee. I'm not going to be able to tell them what the best type of roof construction is.
No, I think I think this role is more a finance committee advisor to the whole project.
Right.
Okay. That is, it's going to have to be financed, so there's going to have to be some input from the financial perspective on that. Not so much the building perspective. I think there's plenty of expertise in the DPW for that.
So we would be back and forth on our recommendations.
Yeah.
And I could bring that to the meetings.
Okay.
So it's similar to the fire. Okay.
If you feel comfortable.
I feel comfortable. I just, I don't think they're going to be, the more I think about it, the more I think that they're not going to be looking to me for things that I can't provide. And I think you do way too much.
This project, I think, is going to be more involved than the fire.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Do you,
In terms of the scope of the project.
this is a years, not,
Yeah.
right.
So, Lynn, you have a nomination for Mark?
Yeah, is there any second?
I'll second that, now that I've heard Mark out and really know that he's comfortable with it.
Do we want to take a vote then?
I think that's the next order of business. State your preference.
Yellow eye.
King eye.
Shepherd, aye.
Matthew, right.
Mark, is your vote?
It shall be so.
Okay.
Agenda item 3, I'm going to turn it over to Liz.
Thank you. So as you are aware, we've had 2 recent resignations from the Capital Budget Committee. And we have an interested applicant who has filed the volunteer application, and I have also sent to you her resume. So I'd like to introduce Sarah Jordan to the group and ask her to just give a little bit of information about her background and her interest in being on the Capital Budget Committee. If you want to stand by the podium, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
That way you'll be full frame in the camera.
There we go, full frame in the camera. I will put myself over there.
Yeah.
My name is Sarah Jordan. I've been in Sterling for well over a quarter century. Liz and I met on the school committee when I was a volunteer there. Life happened. I am currently the Director of Accountability for the Greater Commonwealth Virtual School, which is one of the 2 public virtual schools in Massachusetts. It's a Commonwealth school, so it serves every town. And in my role there, because I work on budget, I have to make a lot of decisions. It's the assistant superintendent role, but it's done differently under Commonwealth schools. I realize I'm interested in supporting the town and coming. I was telling Kirsten here that I got tired and burned out, but I want to come back and help. And this seemed to be a good stepping stone because I want to see if there's room for my grant writing capacity, which is something that I do enjoy doing. And I feel this is a good step to investing back in Sterling.
Thank you very much.
Are there any
Does anybody have
questions?
any questions for Sarah?
What is a virtual school? How does that
You know, the.
Is it Zoom education, basically?
It is Zoom education. There's the two different schools. We have live classes, so students show up, they have to come to class, they meet their teacher, they have breakout rooms where they talk. We're moving on to Zoom. There's lots of other platforms that allow kids to interact and play more. We have to follow all of the frameworks, the Commonwealth. We take the MCAS. You try planning the MCAS for the entire Massachusetts, my job. But yes, it's education. We have most of our kids, on our certificate, we have to prioritize the students who are too medically fragile to attend a brick and mortar, too emotionally fragile, so it goes down. So we have a very high needs population. And even though in person is often better, sometimes it's not possible, so we try and give the next best thing.
Is it an augmentation at all to homeschooling?
Yes, it is actually. Our first targeted clientele were the homeschoolers. We wanted to bring them in, and because every student has a learning coach, usually the mother who is involved, and so there's that sense of parental involvement. We do have at least monthly meetups. We do things in public. We do the Museum of Science. We just had our old school picnic at 5 different state parks in Massachusetts because because in the homeschooling community, that outreach, that doing things outside the home has been very important. Why are you asking that?
Thank you.
So, data accountability is part of your work. We typically do joint finance committee, capital budget committee meetings. There is a lot of data. There is a lot of analysis of that. So I'm assuming that you're comfortable in the role of analysis.
I am. My previous role was data specialist, which is really what I do for the director of accountability. I'm always crunching data, either creating my own in order to report back to the state. We are under the direct oversight of the Commissioner of Education, and so I have to present, and because we serve such marginalized students, oftentimes we don't meet the accountability measures that would show that we're an effective school. So I have to create the data or find the data that shows that we're still effective. So in the same way that data analysis, financial analysis, I have expertise in data, I have experience in financial, but I can't say that I'm a financial expert.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Mark.
I don't know, Liz, if you discuss FinCom, it seems to me like Sarah might be a good fit where we have 52% of our budget is the schools. And you were on school committee.
I run a school.
Right. We have joint meetings, and I was wondering if it would be good to talk about maybe also being on FinCom. Most of us are on both.
I think eventually I'd like to be on both. But when I broached that to Liz, she suggested I test the water slowly. So yes.
Watch this guy over here. He's been known to talk.
He wants to be on the DPW board.
Selfishly, as chair of capital budget, and I do believe, Mark, that working in capital budget is a really great way to get the basics of what FinCom and capital budget does in a relatively easily understandable way, because we're dealing oftentimes with equipment, special projects, that type of thing. So it's real stuff, and it's not an overwhelming amount the way that, you know, if you look at the capital budget spreadsheet, it's typically 1 page, whereas you look at omnibus budget and it's 4 pages.
Right.
So I see capital budget as a great training ground, and we're going to emphasize that beginning this fall of more training. But she, as well as I, who am the only person who's exclusively on capital budget, benefit tremendously from the joint meetings and learning FinCom, and as you know, I'm not shy about chiming in with my questions or comments on FinCom, and I would expect the same.
So you wouldn't hesitate to be involved in a discussion about finance?
I would not hesitate.
You know, going back to your school committee experience, I think that we could use some input. I don't know how long ago you did it.
It was 25 years ago.
Okay.
It was during the 2-school time.
Okay.
She and I were both on together. I was on budget and finance. I don't remember what committee you were on.
Curriculum and policy, mostly curriculum.
Yeah. play to our strengths.
I will say that your grant writing experience will be very beneficial, considering the capital projects that we have in town. It'd be nice to know there's someone with that type of experience, maybe go out search for additional funding for a project that we may not be aware of as well.
I
So
do
that might be
membership to Grant Watch, which is a weekly compilation of grants that are available.
Everybody
And,
gets that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
So you may stay here for the discussion. So I would, if anybody has any additional comments, because I'd like to see a motion to forward Sarah's name to the select board, because capital budget members require 3 votes. It's a finance committee vote. I do not get to vote. It is a select board vote, and it is a town moderator vote, similar to the process for finance committee members. So we need a motion from a finance committee member.
So moved.
Second.
To forward Sarah's name.
Can we hold a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Lynn?
Shepherd, aye.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Next,
Passing grade.
next stop will be select board, I believe, on the 26th.
6th, yes. So I will let them know, well, you're here, and I will get in touch with Comma first thing tomorrow.
And if I understand the process that you also sent around, there has to be a joint meeting of the select board, the finance committee, and the moderator to do the final vote. Is that correct?
That's never been the process
Right.
before.
I know, it has never been the process, I agree. And
So-
that did say draft, but
Yeah. So I know that for my appointment, the town moderator was not even there.
Right.
So I think that our vote to forward her name is adequate.
okay,
Yeah, that's the process we've used
in the
on
past, I
all the
understand.
appointments in the past, Lynn, is we seek the moderator's approval, and that is given by Mr. Caldwell typically as affirmative at the select board meeting, and then the select board votes.
Okay,
Thank you all.
Thank you, Sarah, for stepping up.
Yes,
much appreciated.
much appreciated.
Okay, next agenda topic is setting the next meeting agenda and date and time. What are thoughts about another meeting this year, potentially post the special town meeting, as a closeout meeting of any loose ends of Finance Committee and Capital Budget Committee for the year? Entertain thoughts on that and comments.
I definitely think we should do that, and I think we should schedule it at a time when all of us can be present.
Other thoughts?
At what point do you think we'll be looking to replace our chairman in Flint Drum? We do that in the fall, or?
We did it 2 years ago in the fall
Yeah.
because we were low on people.
Yeah, I think we ought to defer that vote until the fall when we start up again. I'm more thinking that if it's after a special town meeting on the 24th, and if it's after the select board meeting on the 26th, then we can entertain Mr. Handy back on the finance committee officially, and Sarah as well on the capital budget committee if all the votes for reappointment go properly. And we can have that closeout meeting. We can discuss what we want to do, if anything, over the summer and how we want to start up in the fall. So those are, probably doesn't have to be a long meeting, but a closeout meeting.
Okay, I will not be available for any meetings until after July the 9th.
I think that would be okay.
But to have it after July 9th, or to have a meeting?
To be, take out it after July 9th.
Okay.
I think it's important to have all of us there.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
All right.
If somebody can-
Well, that's well after STM, and it's well after the select board reappointments.
Right.
Desi?
I think it's a good idea. Okay, absolutely. Well done.
All right, I'll be the contrarian. I don't really see the necessity for it anytime during the summer. I don't see us particularly doing any work over the summer. I think that with the schedule that we had last year where we began in September, and I think that we have somewhat streamlined the process a little bit. In speaking with Bill, he was saying that, capital budget requests won't be coming in until December. And then by January 15th, we must have, per finance bylaw, the department heads' budgets. So the omnibus budget is due January 15th. January 15th, capital budget by December. That leaves us all of the fall to roadmap our financial goals, understandings, do some orientation of any new additional members we might be able to come up with in the summertime, maybe, hopefully. And I think that it gives us an opportunity to step back a little bit. If anybody wants to do their own independent research, fine and dandy, but I think it's been a long year.
So when would you suggest we start up in September, in the new year?
Yeah, begin it in September, the way that we have done in the past. One of the first agenda items is getting the numbers from Bill and Fred in terms of stabilization balance, in terms of capital investment fund balance, in terms of what they're seeing as free cash, because Fred usually closes out by August 31st, and so we should know the fiscal year 24 budgets versus actuals with a fair degree of certainty. So we'll get those baseline numbers. We usually do the calendar, and I think this year we really need to buckle down the process of how we review department budgets, because we kind of waffled on that a little bit this past year. And then decide on what are the data points that we really need to be gathering up during September, October, November, prior to getting capital budget requests in December. And I know that last year we were encouraged to do our capital department meetings, and many of the department heads that we met with, particularly the ones that have the largest capital requests, fire, police, and DPW, when we started our initial meetings with them in November, already had their budgets ready for submission in December. So we were already gathering up that information and presenting it to the capital budget committee at that point. So there's a decent 3 months that we could be working to laying the groundwork for what we would need to do in terms of deliberations toward the goal of making our recommendations at the annual town meeting.
I hear an impassioned plea from Liz to
A long-winded.
to adjourn after special town meeting is the last meeting of the Finance Committee. Do I have a motion?
Well, I don't, do you think you need a motion? I mean,
We're going to vote on it.
okay, to just,
It's one of our agenda items, so we can vote on it. And I would prefer to vote on it.
okay.
As a compromise, could we meet before the town meeting? I know everything is not going to be finalized, but if there's some urgency, some urgent issues, they could be brought up then, we'd be there anyway.
Or after the town meeting, because you open and close your Finance Committee meeting as you choose. So
That
typically,
town meeting should be very,
it's one article.
yeah,
So,
just a thought.
We won't have new members at that point in time. I will point that out. So it'll just be us and,
Just like tonight.
all right?
Are
So-
we gonna be present at the annual town meeting?
special town meeting.
I mean, excuse me, the special, okay.
So is that what you'd like to propose, Mark? As an alternative, is a brief,
Does anyone else see any benefit to that?
I see little benefit in it only because we won't have our new members that reappointed at that point in time. So,
All meetings are open to the public.
The only reason I suggested having a final meeting is there's been a lot of turmoil with the resignations, with the feedback we've gotten individually from town departments or select board or wherever about how we operated this year. So I felt there might be some benefit in doing a little bit of soul searching as a committee, as committees, to say, okay, what do we think we did right? What do we think we did wrong? How do we want to change for the coming budget year? And I thought that has value with the current members, not necessarily new members, because they won't have the experience of working with us this year, but I thought that had value, and I also thought it would have value to look at some best practices that have been presented this year that maybe we want to think about or look into over the summer. I personally was going to try to do that, but I think that as a group, if we think we can do a better job by following some best practices of other towns, then I think it's worthy of a little discussion before we close out the year. So, that was my reason for wanting to have a closing meeting. Does anybody else think that?
If we have a closing meeting, are you okay with it occurring after July 9th, which was a restriction that Liz has? Because if we're going to have one, I tend to agree with you, Lynn, is we should try and have everybody present if we can.
Yeah.
In person, rather than on the phone.
Right.
So would this be a joint meeting? Do we?
I think it would be beneficial if we can,
Okay.
since we have such a large overlap.
I agree with Lynn. I think it would be beneficial to have a meeting where we discuss what I like to call the elephant in the room, is the difficulties that we hear about, the reasons in resignation letters. I think all of those should be discussed and not just tiptoed around, you know. I think we can benefit from having an open understanding of why these things happen this year. And it's a lot of it is very, very unpleasant, in my opinion. And I think that it would be good if we could openly talk about these things and work to fix them and you know, try to have a more of a team approach, you know, working with select board and the other departments, rather than a confrontational, which I sensed. I wasn't privy to a lot of the issues until recently, and that's just my 2 cents. I think it would be good to have a meeting, either in the fall or in July, to get this ball rolling so that,
Well, we definitely will have a meeting starting in September, because I think our only 2 off months are July and August, according to the bylaw.
is it, you know, Lynn, do you think it's important that we do it in the summer, or, you know, research and think about it over the summer?
I just want to say, I think we should meet before the fall. You know, hearing the discussion about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I think it will deter from the work we need to do in the fall. We're very heavy once the budget season goes through, capital requests come in, and I think the discussion will just what's the term I'm looking for?
It'll fall on the finance immediately, is that what you're?
Yeah, well, it will overshadow
Yeah, okay.
the budget process. It will overshadow the capital budget process. And we need to put this to bed.
I agree.
So you're suggesting we do it immediate, or, you know, we do it before the fall?
Correct.
So, if let's see, we have Mark wanting to do that as I can go either way on that. I think we have enough votes to say that passes right now. Do we have a date in mind? Knowing that it has to be after July 9th. Right?
So,
After July
yeah.
9th. Because we want you there, Liz.
So we have some time to figure it out. So a very convenient tool that I use when I'm working with a group of people is to set up a doodle poll. And I think we would want to keep it to Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or Thursdays,
Yeah, midweek.
and go for 6:30.
Yes.
So why don't I send out a doodle poll after Select Board has met to appoint and reappoint, so that we will know who our new members are, which is only next week, and then we can select some dates.
That sounds very fair to me.
All right, I'll take that on.
Thank you for offering that, Liz.
Yep, no
It's a
problem.
Good suggestion. Okay. All right, so we have.
Are we going, you said you wanted to vote?
Yes. Are we going to vote to have a meeting?
I believe that unless you put discussion and vote on the agenda, you're not supposed to have a formal vote. But you certainly have the consensus of the group here that
Yeah.
everybody is fine with
I
it.
think that's enough.
Okay.
I'm satisfied if you guys are satisfied with that.
I think we all should be there. You know,
Yeah.
Well, that's what Doodle will give
Whatever
you.
the doodle
We
date
will-
is.
We will find the
we can
points
all be there.
that when everyone can meet.
Yeah, and we do have our next meeting is a special town meeting, so.
Right.
Right. And if you meet 15 minutes before and you want to discuss it some more and come up with some topic ideas, fine and dandy, or just attend special town meeting.
I think it would be good if we agree to group at least 15 minutes before the special town meeting. Do you guys agree?
So
Or
you,
is it-
Yeah, absolutely.
it's a,
Is 15 enough? Should we be there a half an hour before the meeting opens, or what?
I think 15 is fine.
15's good?
Yeah.
Okay.
it's good.
so Val will have to set a agenda item for 6:15 on June the 24th at the Choxet Middle School gym. And it's really a finance committee meeting.
It is, yes.
So it's just finance, it's not joint.
So that's
Right.
6:15.
Yes.
Okay.
So you'll take care of getting that meeting posted on the
So
calendar.
that's Monday. Gotta get it up soon.
One other reminder topic, before I ask one more question, is on the 6/26 meeting. I just want to reconfirm, we have reappointments of Mr. George Handy to the Finance Committee, and we have a reappointment of Lynn Shepherd to the Capital Budget Committee. Do I have those correct?
Correct, yeah,
And we will also have Sarah's appointment
correct. Yep,
to discuss at the select board meeting as well.
yep.
Is it necessary that the individuals be at the meeting?
It is, it's nice, but it's
Not required. And you, as liaison to select board, he would represent finance. So if there are any questions about the two reappointments or the new appointment, Joe would be able to answer those.
both ways.
And then, I guess my only question is, reading the interview policy, it does say that the select board will interview the candidates in a public session.
That's why it's preferred
Yep. So
that the
show up.
candidates show up at the select board meeting, although I've been to enough select board meetings to know that appointments sometimes get made without the person in attendance there. So it can go either way.
No, I know we don't follow this policy.
Right.
This is the first I've seen of it, and maybe we should ask the selectmen at some point, do we want to follow this policy, or?
Well, as you pointed out, it's up on the website as a draft, so I don't know if the select board has officially adopted it as a policy.
Correct.
So
Obviously, we're
this,
not following it.
yeah, but I think that finance and capital are some very important committees, and so my hope would be that the candidates would be able to find the time next Wednesday to be there.
What was the origin of that policy that was circulated recently?
It was on the website, it's on the town's website. So
Somewhere.
I stumbled into it. Did you have any other questions?
The other question was, who is going to be in attendance at special town meeting?
I will.
Okay.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Okay, and King will be there. Will you be there, Liz?
No, it's a finance committee meeting.
He's welcome.
I know, I would be as a public member, but unfortunately I'm not able to.
All right, good. So all of us existing FinCom members will be there. Great. Okay.
Right.
Do you anticipate any need for us to talk?
We have to all four be there to have a quorum.
Right.
In other words,
I don't anticipate it, but if the question comes up, I guess we should be willing to answer it.
Right.
That's why you convene the meeting, is so that you're not in violation of open meeting law by discussing the question amongst yourselves. But in terms of a quorum, you only need a quorum for a vote. So you can have a meeting without, I believe, having quorum, as long as it's an informational, non-voting meeting.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I think we should be prepared in case unfortunately I couldn't hear you guys very well when you were discussing the article, but it's really important that this passes for the full amount, or we're going to be in trouble again in terms of our municipal operating budget, right?
correct.
Well, if it doesn't pass, we will be in non-compliance with the regional school district agreement.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's any, and Joe, maybe you know, is there any activity to do anything counter to passing this article? Have you heard anything
not I'm aware of, Lynn.
Okay. If it doesn't pass, we're in non-compliance, then what? What does that mean? We have to contribute our amount to the regional school budget, right? So if we don't pass this, does this mean that the only thing appropriated for the year is what we appropriated to the municipal operating budget?
Correct.
And if that happens, then the municipal operating budget is less than the total school budget, right?
It's close, it's very close.
It's less.
It is a little less. So, what does that mean if that happens?
Well, if we don't vote to raise and appropriate the 13 million, that 13 million will come from the operating budget. The administration will have to realign the budget in order to fit the school department first. And whatever's left over goes to the town. It's devastating.
And since they're both equally, very close to the same amount, that gives the
Yes.
town
Yeah.
nothing.
Exactly.
So that would require some very harsh actions on the town, part of the town.
Exactly.
Right.
Kirsten?
So it's not just that, the state also, DESE, Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, failure to comply with this requirement may result in non-approval of a municipality's tax rate, enforcement action by the Attorney General, or loss of state aid. So there's other consequences on top of loss of municipal budget.
So, if we do need to talk, we just need to make it very clear the repercussions of not voting yes on this. And I guess if they ask the finance committee to talk, it will be you, Joe, and first, and if they ask the select board to discuss it, it'll probably be you, right?
Yes.
We will do our best to make sure that people understand they need to pass it.
My assumption would be that our town administrator would introduce this article with exactly the words that you said. Here are the repercussions if you don't, in addition to the 13 million that comes out of the town's budget, all those other things. So I would hope it would be very apparent that people would have to support it.
As we do.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Okay?
A motion to adjourn?
Hold on a
no,
second. We've got
not yet.
other new business.
Okay, we have to do
Yeah.
this.
You are a wishful thinker.
May I bring?
Liz, take it away.
Okay, I'd like to bring up something under new business, and I'm simply looking for the consensus of the committees. Lynn did a great job of, which I shared with all of you, new committee members needed, her one-page blurb on with the fact that finance and capital budget need more volunteers to apply for the position. Joe suggested that that could be our July Meeting House News article, to put that out there as coming from us again, as we've done in the past. So I'm looking for the group. Do you all think that that is a good idea to get this into Sterling Meeting House News? I'll just do some minor revisions on it, or maybe none. Do you feel that this covers it? Does this give an adequate description? And can we go forward? Because Lynn put it together as something that would go on the town's website, similar to the fire department's position vacancies. But we can also use it as one of our continuing series of articles that come out of the Sterling Finance and Capital Budget Committee byline. Everyone good with that idea?
I am. I think we need any channel to get the word out.
Okay,
Okay, that's my own personal feeling.
so am I going
Can we-
back on Watch You Chat and all those other spots?
We can certainly do that.
I'll do that.
I can certainly take it and post it to next door as well for that. If we want to hit social media, we ought to all agree to hit social media with it as a blitz. So I'd like to at least see consensus on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would move that we do exactly that and advertise wherever we can and give Liz the freedom to modify as she sees fit for whatever video we put it out on.
I think you did a great job, Lynn. So.
Most of which I stole from you. But,
All right, so I'll treat it the same way that I would treat any other article that we've done in Meeting House News, and then use some of the Sterling Facebook groups.
How about the homepage on the main Sterling website? Is that a possibility as well?
Yes, that's what this is for. The same way that the fire department has it on the homepage of the Town of Sterling website. We would send this to Kama and ask her to do that there. That's why Lynn created it. But there's lots of other uses. All right, good. I'll get that taken care of.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Liz.
welcome. Do we need to vote in favor of doing
Nope,
this? Or?
nope, it's not a vote. It's a consensus.
Okay. Sounds good.
Is there any other new business, old business, any business? Is there any comment from the public section? Hearing none. Do we want to have a motion for adjournment?
I'll move to adjourn.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye?
And that was a joint adjournment.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Are you in favor, Liz?
I am, indeed.
Unanimous.
Better do your job.